much. My notes are hiding. I am Kristine Miller McGehee. I'm a Holton alumna from the class of 1974 and a current trustee. And on behalf of the entire Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to welcome you on this very momentous occasion, where we celebrate Holton alumna and my classmate, Christine Lallouette Lagarde, France's Minister of Economy, Finance, and Employment. It is wonderful to have so many students and Holton families here, and we are delighted to see you. I would like to welcome our distinguished guests this afternoon who honor us with your presence. Welcome Monsieur Pierre Dumont, French Ambassador to the United States. Welcome, Mr. Ambassador. Also from the embassy, we have special guests who accompany Monsieur Dumont and Monsieur David Appia, Monsieur Gerard Villet, and Christophe Dessay. Welcome. Also with us in the audience is Claudia McMurray from the class of 1976, who is the current U.S. Assistant Secretary of State. Also, John Bolton, who is the former UN Ambassador and past Holton parent. Welcome all of you. Special members of our Holton family who taught and knew Madame Lagarde while she was here at Holton. Past faculty member Mary DePino has come from Newport, and she was instrumental in bringing the American Field Service program to Holton. It appears that this has had a tremendous impact on Madame Lagarde's career. Laura Roland Poisson, class of 74, and her sister Libby, class of 76, were Madame Lagarde's American sisters. They embraced warmly here at the front gate. It was really wonderful to see. And they served as her Holton family while Madame Lagarde was here in Washington. Past faculty member Senora Casaravilla taught Spanish. And of course, Bob Tupper was here to teach history and to serve as Madame Lagarde's senior project advisor. Today we experience the power of a Holton education and the impact that your great teaching has had on the life of one young woman, on her country, and the world. In these introductions, if I have missed someone, I hope you will please accept my apologies. Now it is my pleasure to introduce a member of Holton's current senior class, Sara Cohen. Sara was last year's recipient of the Elise Gelman French Prize and is this year's director of the Representative Assembly.
Madame le ministre, c'est avec un très grand plaisir que nous vous accueillons aujourd'hui à Holton-Arms. C'est encore une plus grande joie pour nous de revoir dans notre école une ancienne élève de Holton. Les élèves et professeurs vous remercient d'avoir bien voulu accepter notre invitation, sachant bien que votre temps est précieux et votre emploi du temps chargé en ce samedi 20 octobre. Madame Lagarde, bienvenue parmi nous. On behalf of the students and teachers at Holton-Arms, I welcome you back to campus. It is an honor and a privilege to receive such a well-accomplished alum back to Holton. Thank you for generously taking time out of your busy schedule and numerous commitments on your visit to the United States to come and speak with us. It is a unique opportunity indeed to get the chance to meet someone who is not only a figure of international renown, but also one of our very own Holton students. So, on behalf of all of us here at Holton, we warmly welcome you back.
Time ago that the class of 1974 crossed over the bridge to the amphitheater in our white dresses to receive our diplomas. Who knew then where we would be today and how our Holton experience would change our lives? Madame Lagarde, your presence as an AFS student bestowed a worldliness on us professor girls, and we are grateful. from your participation in the French Club as a member of Orchestra, and to your early interest in world affairs and political science, you exhibited energy, enthusiasm, and I might add style to your classmates. While the rest of us were flomping around the halls in our topsiders, I remember you gliding gracefully down the hall in your little black flats. Today, you continue to honor us with your grace, and we thank you and embrace you as you return as a distinguished alumna. Born in Paris, Christine Lallouette Lagarde completed her undergraduate studies in Le Havre. She then obtained degrees in social law and a master's degree from the Institute of Political Studies. After being admitted as a lawyer to the Paris bar, Christine Lagarde joined the international firm of Baker & McKenzie as an associate, specializing in labor and antitrust law. She became chairman of the Global Executive Committee and subsequently the first woman chair of the Global Strategic Committee. Under her leadership, Baker & McKenzie increased their gross revenues by 50%. Asked by French Prime Minister Dominique de Villepin to join his government in June 2005, Madame Lagarde put her skills towards servicing her country. Her nomination as Minister of Foreign Trade enabled her to use her negotiation skills during the 2005 World Trade Organization talks. Under newly elected President Nicolas Sarkozy, she became the Minister for Agriculture and Fisheries and subsequently the Finance and Economy Minister. Again, she is the first woman to hold this post for a G7 country. Her nomination was widely acclaimed in the international press. In 2007, Forbes magazine named Madame Lagarde the 12th most influential woman in the world. A past member of the the French national team of synchronized swimming, a mother of 2 sons, and a recipient of the Legion of Honor, we welcome you back to our alma mater. It is my pleasure to introduce Madame Christine Lallouette Lagarde, a member of the class of the Holton-Arms Class of 2007.
I was wondering whether I should continue in French or in English, actually. I remember the first day when I arrived at Holton-Arms, my English was certainly not half as good as what it is today, and yet I managed to make myself understood, and I managed to understand bits and pieces of what my American family was then telling me. Few things have changed since 1973. And just to put things in perspective, I would just remind those of you who were there in 73 and those who were not there, what it was like back in those days. 73, there was this coup in Chile. Mr. Pinochet took power. Where are we today? A woman is in charge of that country, Michelle Bachelet. 73, that was the first oil crisis. We didn't talk much about climate change in those days, nor did we talk about gas emissions. But certainly we just began to realize that those resources might be in short supply. But the price of oil was not at the level where it is today, that's for sure. Those days, well, thanks to my contemporary problems professor, and I would like to pay tribute to you and to what you've taught me in those days, I became interested in politics and was lucky to join the staff of then Congressman Cohen, who subsequently became Senator Cohen, and then Secretary of Defense, Bill Cohen, and he was the youngest member of the House Judiciary Committee, and in those days, clearly, the American President, Richard Nixon, was under some sort of investigation. The good thing about change is that there are clearly more investigations underway all around the world, and clearly from 1973 to today, democracy has made huge, huge progress, including in Latin America. And that is good. Now, I just wanted to set the scene, because certainly a lot of progress has taken place. A lot of people who were starving in those days are no longer starving. And a lot of countries that were under military tyrannies are now moving swiftly into more democratic regimes. And that's certainly a result of a lot of values that have been wonderfully demonstrated by this school. And here I would really like to recognize the values, the principles, and the discipline as well, which sometimes was hard to take for me in those days, that are really evidenced by the curricula, by the quality of the teachers, and by what you are taught in this school. Having gone through something like 8 or 9 years of graduate, postgraduate, whatever you want to call it, but post-graduation university and school education, I must say that the year that I spent in this wonderful city of Bethesda next to Washington with my American family and being taught good principles and values by this school has probably been, to me, worth a lot more in one single year than all these years that I spent learning lots of things, sitting on benches of French universities and others. So for that, and if only for that, I would like to just say a huge, huge thank you to the school, to the teachers who are represented here, and to what you continue to do day after day with the students. Really, this is outstanding, and it gives you the certainty that anybody can do it. Gives you the confidence in yourself that you can then offer to other people. I've got a wonderful speech that was written for me by my staff, but I don't think I'm going to look at it. I don't think I'm going to look at it because what I would like to do is just share with you what has actually helped me throughout the process, because I thought it might help some of you, and if it doesn't help you, it might help your daughters or your granddaughters. So I think there is huge merit in having role models. Not that I would want to evidence myself as one of them, but I certainly had the benefit of role models myself. And many of those role models were women. And I would like just to mention how some women have actually influenced me throughout my life and my career. The first one that did influence me tremendously was my mother. And she was a widow at a very early age, raised 4 kids on relatively limited income in those days, being a professor in college. And throughout my youth and teen years, and much later on, until she passed away last June, she's evidenced to me the strength of a woman that has confidence in herself, that can be extremely demanding. She was once, for 1 year, my teacher in Latin, English, Greek and French grammar. And I can tell you, she was demanding. It's terrible. But she certainly has been a fantastic inspiration for me. After having been inspired by that woman, the other key figure that I see in my life is the woman who hired me at Baker McKenzie. She was the managing partner of Baker McKenzie in Paris. She was Belgian by nationality. She was actually introduced in the Paris office by Wallace Baker, who was the eldest son of Russell Baker, the founder of the firm, which was the largest law firm in the world, still is today. She was introduced as a paralegal, and yet she was a partner. But Wally Baker was so afraid that the male partners in the Paris office would resent the fact that there was a woman partner, that he introduced her as a paralegal. Can you believe that? That was in 1974. Not that long ago. And she was the one who hired me, and definitely inspired me as a woman lawyer, as a mother, as a very strong character, certainly the one whose earning was the highest, the one whose billing was the biggest, and she was the boy in the club, and yet she was truly, profoundly a woman I remember when she interviewed me the first time she had a call, and suddenly I heard her voice soften, and she obviously started talking to somebody else than a client. And she was saying, you know, well, please don't forget to do your homework and do this and do that and the other. And she put the phone down and she said, I'm very sorry, this is my daughter. But it showed me that somebody with that level of authority, power, and ability to actually drive the boat as she was doing it, she was also capable of demonstrating that softness and that tenderness that she felt no shame about, which was not so much the case in the very early 80s, late 70s actually. And she was known to be the KC woman. She was so fast and she wanted to get things done so quickly that she always said, okay, merci, at the same time. So it was KC. That was the kind of character she was. And she really told me a few things that clearly I didn't know well when I joined Baker McKenzie Paris at the time. She told me how to, I summarize it briefly, she told me how to dress, address, and redress. And those things I've never forgotten. Told me how to dress because, you know, when you're a young lawyer joining this big boys world, you don't really know how to dress. I had to learn very quickly in the G7 meeting. As the Italian television channel just said to me, there were lots of trousers, but with only one pair of legs. So I think Monique would be pleased with me that at least I knew how to dress for the photo. She told me how to address, because that's another thing which clearly you teach in this school, and that you taught me at the time. I remember Mrs. Cox. Some of you may have had her as a teacher for American history, it was Laura, when we had to read 10 pages or 20 pages every day,